Hello guys, welcome to a replay analysis. And we're back at it again with Zogger Champagne. If you guys have been familiar with these guys before. Champagne is a Masters player. Zogger is a gold player. Their team is averaging out at a Diamond League. Zogger's got a big heart, a heart of diamond. He's on his way. But let's help them understand what's going on in their 2v2 games and see how they can go about it. Their current opponents are Double Terran versus Double Zerg. This is a TVZ to the extreme. 2v2. Alright, so both players opting for a fast expand. Nice. Nice. Masters and what? Gold? This is Masters and Gold, and their team is Diamond League right now. The team is its own thing. Alright. So we have a hatch gas pool. We have a hatch gas pool. Yeah, it's the same thing again as before. Champagne's just like a little bit faster. It's okay. So, you know, obviously it just takes practice. Champagne a little bit faster at thingies. Alright, let's talk about your guys' scouts. Good. I love the ping of the SCV. You know why? Because it's good to know that they're scouting. And Champagne didn't know that until now, after you let him know that they're scouting at the moment. So that gives him time. Oh, you're both getting scouted. Okay, so now that that's important to know that both Terrans scouted, which means both Terrans are playing a bit safe. Neither one's playing really greedy. Yeah, that's important information. And now you guys know. Because I mean, if you actually rip off one of your SCVs off of like your first 13, that's pretty big. Okay, we have a factory being built on a reactor. You know what that tells me? This guy doesn't know how to do a reactor build. And here's why. Like, this already would feel good if I were you. Not to shit on you, Rice, if you're somehow listening at some point in time. But if I was Zerg against this, I'd be like, drones. You know why? Here's why. Terran players. Do not ever build a factory after a reactor. And here's why. A factory takes longer to build than a reactor. That's number one. And number two, if you build a factory first with 100 gas, you can mine the next 50 gas you need to then start the reactor. And you can time the factory and the reactor to finish at about the same time. The difference of time of the buildings take to be built is almost the same thing as the difference of time it takes for them to mine the gas to make a reactor after the factory. Like my hand signals. D. Yeah, so don't ever fucking go factory after reactor, because then you get a lopsided situation here where you got a factory that's just starting into a reactor that's already done. Not good. Not good. I thought a factory was about the same as a reactor. It's not. A barracks and a factory have longer build times than a starport. But a starport, see, a barracks is 46. A factory is 43. Oops. A factory is 43. And a starport is 36. And a reactor is 36. So, yeah. Factory takes longer. It's about 46 to, 43 to 36? That's 7 seconds longer. And 7 seconds of mining gas is like enough to almost pretty much make a reactor. Almost. It's very close. So the correct way to do it is you go barracks, then factory, then reactor on the barracks, and then you swap them over. That's how you're supposed to do it. This is not correct. This is so lopsided. Like, you don't ever, like, look at this. You can tell. Also, here's a cool tip as well. You can tell as well. You could tell. Here's the thing. You can tell that by the time the Overlord gets to the base and sees a finished reactor with a started factory, you can tell there is no unit that got made out of that barracks. It is physically impossible to make a barracks and then a reactor that fast and also have enough money to make a factory, which means he has SCVs mining enough resources for that. It is impossible to make a Marine or a Reaper that fast and also have a reactor done that fast and also have the barracks out of position that fast. You cannot do all of that this fast. And how do I know that? Because you could add up how long it takes to make a depot, 21 seconds. You could add up how long it takes to make a barracks, 46 seconds. You could add up how long it takes to make a reactor, 36 seconds. You could add up how long it takes to make a gas and how long it takes to mine the gas. Blah, 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 blah. This is too early to have Marines and Reapers or whatever out right now. You cannot have them out right now. So you know that this guy's build already has been barracks, immediate reactor, lift off, make a factory, which is a bad fucking build. That's a bad build. Not a good build. This guy's going for a reactor. This guy's doing it more proper. He actually is doing it. No, he's actually not. He's keeping the reactor on the racks though. Both of these guys don't know what they're doing. They're both going for Hellions with Marine openers. Well, to be fair, this guy's doing it better though. He's going for an actual Marine opener. This guy is just fucking swapping it immediately and having no reactor using anything. This reactor's just idle doing nothing. Like, why build it that fast? But either way, I would say, based on what you guys saw, they both look like they're going for Hellion builds. Okay? It looks like you're playing two Hellion opener-based Terrans. So now, as the Zerg team, you guys should actually be... Again, you should think about that, right? You should think about that and go, okay, well, double fucking factory Terrans, huh? Hey, guy, huh? Double factory Terrans, huh? Now, there is no reason why they both could not be expanding right now. And you want to know why? If you go for a factory and you make Hellions out of it, what does that cost? To maintain Hellion production. Pure minerals, right? Pure minerals. These guys could have both easily done these builds off, and neither one of them made a Reaper, by the way. These guys could have both fucking easily done these builds with one gas. And you want to know what's really easy to do when you only take one gas early? Expand. So I would say if I were either one of you in this game, I would already be expecting both of these Terrans to be going for factory Hellion production expansions. Like they're both going Hellion expand, essentially. Which is fine. It's just how could you deal? What can you do to now deal with that? I would say you should now be worried about the follow-up of what it could be later on. But for now, you should be worried about Terran players who, if they get damage done, will probably take the lead in economy, even though you should have it right now. So you got to protect your economy, right? And what is one of the best things you can do to protect your economy against double Hellion Terran? Get fucking Roaches and Queens. One of you should be making a Roach Warren right now. Literally... If you had one player make a Roach Warren, let's say the Roach player makes like 6 roaches or like 7 roaches, just a few roaches, and the roaches stay out here somewhere. Roaches are out in the front, just poking around, like pushing the Hellions out, and then both of you have queen. So neither of the Hellions can get up either one of your ramps because the Hellions are being blocked by the queens. And then roaches allow you guys to expand in front of your base and, you know, take a third base or whatever the fuck you want to do. Also, if they both go Hellions, and let's say one of them has like 8 Hellions and the other one has 8 Hellions, and 16 Hellions come to one of your ramps, and neither one of you has roaches, your queens will then actually fucking die. Like, if you guys both were just like, I'll just make 2 queens, 16 Hellions will kill 2 queens. That's for sure. So if one of you has roaches, you could easily, both of you could be greedy as fuck. One of you just makes some roaches to make sure you don't die to Hellions. And then if you both make queens behind it, neither one of you would take damage to air. Because I would say, if I were you guys, I would be saying this to myself right now. What is the scariest thing that these Terrans could do to us right now? Hellion starport. And why? Why is that scary? Because if the Hellions are putting a threat on our economies, because if we ever open up one of our ramps, Hellions just run in and kill all the drones. Well, we need to be careful about that, right? If the Hellions also exist, it's going to be harder to spread my creep between our bases. So I really like the hatchery here because it's going to help you spread creep between your bases so that your queens could be more mobile to defend yourselves if you have to help each other. But what if both Terrans get like Banshees or both Terrans get like a battle cruiser and then they hit one Zerg and the other Zerg has like 6 queens and one Zerg has like 6 queens. But now suddenly there's 2 Terrans with air units in this one Zerg's base. You're going to need the other queens to come over and help, right? You're going to be like, fuck, we need queens over here. So having roaches allows your queens to actually be able to be actively helping each other. So I would say one of you should be going roaches for sure. If neither of you go roaches, this is super fucking scary. Okay, you're just doing the build again. You're doing the the layer build again. It's okay. It's doable. Okay, I think you know what your problem is, Zogger? Honestly, you and Champagne's problems are. You guys are way too formulaic, I think. You guys are way too formulaic for 2v2. In 1v1, you can get away with it a little bit more. But in 2v2, if you just always do the same build every game, you're going to run into problems eventually. And like, for instance, I would say if you're the guy going roaches, that's fine. That's fine. But I would also say you should probably make roaches a little bit faster than layer, particularly this game, because speed roaches don't matter as much. Like, you should still get speed eventually, but opening without speed, like if you would have just delayed your layer and made a roach warren, you could have helped Champagne defend his expansion really easily at his, like the front of your bases, right? Because you would have had, like, say, you had 6 roaches out here, you could easily push these Hellions away, and then he doesn't have to make any lings. And on the same side, Champagne, I don't understand why he's making lings right now when you know you're both playing double Hellion and you want to know what lings are not good against. Overwhelming amounts of Hellions. So if you make like 12 lings and then there's like 12 Hellions really early instead of what you normally would play in a 1v1 because there's 2 Terrans going Hellions, fucking like 12 lings versus 12 Hellions, 12 lings are just going to disappear in half a second. They're just going to instantly die. So I would say if I were you guys, what I would have preferred you to go for would be you could go 2-base layer eventually, but get roaches a little bit faster to help with the Hellions to cover the front of your base. So you could also creep spread and shit like that. And then I would have said Champagne should have just made queens and drones. Like legit queens and drones. That's it. Like don't even get like you can get Zergling speed, but you don't really need it if they're both going Hellions. Like lings aren't gonna do shit here. Like watch the lings. I mean, it is only one player's Hellions. There you go. There's double Hellion now, right? And you guys aren't blocking the ramps. So you guys knew what the build was. You guys both saw. I love that you both scouted. You did this last time as well. You guys both scouted. And I love that you guys scout. But you guys don't seem to react to your scout very much. So you guys really need to think about that. And neither one of you has your ramp covered. And you guys are playing against Hellion. Double Hellion. So the fact that 8 Hellions just rammed your base right away is expected. Because these guys are both going Hellions. Imagine what this Hellions would have done if you guys had Queen, a couple roaches. And then a couple more queens out here spreading creep and stuff like that. Because again, Champagne could have just literally made nothing but queens. Like, for instance, this is what I mean. Zogger, you could have made like 4 queens. How many queens do you have? You have 5 queens. You could have made like 4 queens early and then taken a layer and then slowly made more queens because of the threat of potential starport. And that will be totally fine. And then what Champagne could have done is he could have made, honestly, probably like 8 queens. Because he could have skipped lings and made fucking tons of drones and could have had like 2 queens here, 2 queens at the hatcheries in the main and the natural, 1 queen here, which is now 5, and then like 3 more mobile trying to spread creep in front of the base. So you could have had 2 in the ramp, 1, 1. He could have had 1, 1, 2 on the ramp, and then 1 here and 3 here. So you have 4, he has 8. You guys have 12 queens together. And then you could have had like maybe 5, 6 roaches or whatever. Like 6 roaches. Helping the 3 queens spread creep. Wherever the Hellions go, roaches push them away, and then the queens shove the creep forward. So you get more and more and more creep out to see where the Hellions come from in the future. Super easy to defend it at that point. And then it would be you would actually have more drones for you would have about the same amount of drones, honestly, for yourself that you do right now Your drone count wouldn't really have changed much, but Champagne would have a fully saturated third base already, a fully saturated natural already, and a fully saturated main already. With gases on the way. Like, easily. Like, gases taken with 16 drones, with more drones being made, and you could have all 3 bases fully saturated with drones on gas included by like 5 minutes. Easily. And again, that would have been like a super strong way to play against double Hellion opener. Because think about it. This is why I tell you this. What is double Hellion gonna do? What does double Hellion do? Think about it. Like, if you're a Zerg player, what the fuck are you afraid of when someone makes Hellions? You're afraid of drones getting killed, right? You're like, oh fuck, he's gonna kill my drones. So don't let him kill your drones by covering the ramp and then having something in the front to push them away. And then suddenly Hellions are just a joke. You know what Terrans don't like when they go Hellions? Queens, oh fuck, go this way. Queens, roaches, roaches. And then Hellions are like, okay, well, dude, we're fucking... Should we just YOLO it, just dive and lose all the Hellions and maybe kill like 5 drones? Like, not good for Terran. So you guys didn't really play to your strengths here, I would say. You didn't react to the fact that they were going double Hellion at all. And the reason why is because you guys are very, like I said before, you guys are very formulaic and you do the same build every game. Both of you do. Like, every single game, I expect Champagne. This is like the 3rd replay analysis I've seen, and it's 3 totally different builds every time you guys show me. But every single game, Champagne goes for Lingbane Muta. And every game you go for Roach into Hydras. And that's fine. I'm not saying your compositions are necessarily wrong, but you guys could definitely switch it up a little bit about how you go about it if you think about how you can break the game to your advantage. Do you have to do it? No. But look what happens if you don't do it. Right? Now what's happening? You're taking a bunch of fucking drone damage, and now... now, you're the Zerg player who has less drones than both the Terran players. Right? A little bit painful there for you. You just lost 15 units to that Hellion Harass. You just lost a fuckload. You lost more resources there than every other player in the game combined. That's kind of a, crazy. Up to this point. These Hellions might also die, obviously, but you get the point. Like, that was definitely brutal for you. That fucking was rough. So now the game is just harder for you, right? Like, it's not like you're dead. You're not just out of the game already, but you're definitely in a negative spot. This is not good. And then now, purple Champagne's going for a Ling counterattack. This is not the time to counterattack. Number 1, way too many Lings versus double Hellions. And number 2, this attack is going to do nothing. Like, if they're making Hellions, all that would happen, like, that was only 4 Hellions for each of them. All that would happen is they both could have 4 more Hellions again right now. And these Lings could be running into another 8 Hellions right now. Right? Because, like... think about it. Like, this is where I think about this for a second. Watch this. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so right now, at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, 8 Hellions run into your base. Now, like, this is a question. This is like logical thinking here for Zerg, or for anyone in StarCraft. Do you know how long it takes to make a Hellion? If you don't know that, that's something you should know, because it gives you more indication as to if what you're about to do is going to be a smart or a bad idea. And the answer is 21 seconds. And to prove it, I'll click on a factory and I'll tell you. Factory, 21 seconds on a Hellion. How do I know that? I've memorized it. I memorized a lot of shit about this game over time, right? It's totally fine. 21 seconds. Now, if we're making Hellions on reactors, that means you can make 2 Hellions every 21 seconds. And if you also think about the time it took the Hellions to get across the map, I would say it probably took these Hellions like 15 seconds to get across the map and also run through a slow zone to go from the base to like down here. So if you really think about this for a second, we're already like, there's probably already like 2 more Hellions potentially popping out back at the Terran's base right about like the next like 5 seconds or so, like 5 to 10 seconds. 2 more Hellions are popping out for sure if they're still cranking out Hellions, right? Because there's no reason why they would make 4 Hellions and then just stop making Hellions. And then just never use the factory again. So there's a good chance there's already going to be like 2 more Hellions really soon at the Terran's base. Now look how much time passes before the counterattack happens. Look at the clock. 2 more Hellions again could have popped out. Remember what I just said a second ago? Around like 4:30? Now we're at 4:50. It's over 20 seconds again. Now we're talking about 4 Hellions could be out, honestly, if you really think about it. And now the counterattack begins with Zerg here. And that's 450 was, you know, the last attack. And now finally we get to the Terran's base with the Zerglings. And we're running into the Terran's base around 512, which, what is that? Again, that's about 20 seconds after 450.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at about 6 Hellions per Terran if they were still pumping out Hellions. You could be running into 12 fucking Hellions right now. 12 Hellions, 6 per Terran, off of 1 factory production. Like, this is not an advised. This is a panic attack. This is. I feel like this is an afterthought for Zerg because it's sequential. It's like, oh well, I'm the Zergling guy, so I just make Lings. And normally I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. And you can still get away with winning like that. By the way, thank you for the sub, TYV. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. You can still get away with making Zerglings like this and just not thinking about what you're doing, just doing a sequential build where you just do the same thing every game. You can win like that. But if you really start thinking about the game, you can make advantages for yourself where they shouldn't exist because if your build is sequential. Because what if you didn't make these Lings at all? And what if instead, how many Lings are there? There's 26 Lings. What if the drone count instead for purple was 59 instead of 46? Now, what did these Lings actually accomplish? Let's see what they actually do. Was it worth it? So far, no.
Your forces are under attack.
I mean, you're making that guy overreact. I'm not gonna lie. He's making 3 fucking bunkers. Jesus Christ. But yeah, like that's a problem for him too, right? That's just like what? But like no, those Zerglings were not worth it. They definitely weren't worth it. They did nothing. They made one of the Terrans overreact, which is I mean he didn't have to do that. But you did make him react. You made him overreact and panic a little bit. But I feel like all that did was it puts you in the like moves like this puts you in a position throughout the game that makes you fall further and further and further behind.
A new queen has emerged.
And then here we go again, right? You guys gotta do a better job on not letting Hellions get in your base repeatedly. Like 2 queens on the ramp would completely counter this. And now, watch this. What if this Terran team was very coordinated? Notice how Champagne just brought all of his Lings down as well? What if the other Terran went like this? You know what I mean? Like, neither one of you is really properly defending your base versus Hellions. It's just open again.
Our allies' base is under attack.
Brr, 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 brr. All right, dude. Here comes the Liberators. And there's that Spire, Bane Ling. Yeah, so, I mean, you guys are just constantly going Ling Bane Muta and then Roach Hydra. 2v2, like, you can make that work in 2v2. And I'm going to try now. I'm going to stop telling you to do different builds at this point. And I'm going to try to tell you how you could win with Ling Bane Muta and then Roach Hydra from here for the rest of this replay analysis. Because you guys, This just seems like that's just what you guys do, which is fine. But there are certain times when if you just altered your build a little bit, you could get edges out of it if you really think creatively about how you can tailor your build better to the situation. I would say this is more for Champagne than it is for you, Zogger. Because if Champagne's a Masters player, he definitely has a little bit more in his toolkit that he can use. If you're gold, I would definitely recommend probably just like getting your macro down. Because last time we looked at it, obviously your macro is definitely having a bit of a problem. Yeah. Okay, anyways. How tall are you? I'm 6 foot. Like, let me just throw one thing out there really fast. You want to know one thing one of you guys could have done that would have fucking destroyed this game? Honestly, I would say you, Zogger, instead of going Roach Hydra. You know what you guys could have done? You, like the fact that you're going burrow move I don't like it here personally. Because they're going defensive mech tank turtle. You know what you could have done? What if you, Zogger, instead of going for roaches, you went mass swarm hosts? And then what if Champagne went like mass mutas and lings? No Banes. Because what are the Banes doing? Killing Marines, right? But are they making Marines? They're both going mech as far as it seems. For the like maybe this guy went bio now, but they're both opening up very mechy looking openers. And obviously that comes to, you guys need to keep scouting and shit. I love Champagne's vision of the thirds. That's really nice. I love Champagne's vision net around their base. I'm really proud of him for that. But like if you would have gone for mass swarmhost here, like what could these guys do? They're not attacking you at all. And if you constantly just like layer locust on their bases, you would do so much fucking damage if they're going to play turtley with mech. Either way, it's okay. Well, again, we're not going to talk about other builds as much. We'll talk about what you could be doing. So, what Champagne needs to be doing, honestly, is he needs to be fixing his economy. Fix that. Fix that. Fix that. A little fucked up right now. And then you need to be making sure you're macroing well as well. Fix that. Fix that. And make more there. Both of your guys' drone counts kind of suck ass for the time of the game that you're in. You're at 7 minutes and you guys have 59 and 51 drones. That's very low drone counts for the time frame that you're at. And the reason why you're low drone count is because you got fucking boned by Hellions early on. And the reason why Champagne's low drone count is because he made so many fucking lings. And he's also getting attacked a little bit as well. But mostly the lings is why he's so low drone count. He made a lot of lings throughout this game. Okay, so I would say there's no reason why either of you need to attack them though, right now. So the fact that you're not attacking yet is good. None of them, like the fact that you're scouting for expansions and you don't see any, I would say you guys need to scout bottom left. I think the Circling's going to go do it right now, which is really, really, really good. Okay, Champagne, your scouting this game is molto bene. It's fucking really good. A+ on your scouting. You're really active. Very, very, very... Champagne, massive improvement on the scouting from last time. So fucking good on the scouting, okay? Also, Zogger, good job as well by not having 3,000 minerals. Massive improvement on the macro. You guys definitely are playing better than last time. You guys are still very sequential players, but you are definitely doing a better job overall at your jobs than last time. So I don't think it's all negative. I'm not trying to make it sound like you guys are just playing like shit. And yeah, they still haven't taken third bases yet. I would say definitely get a new Zergling up there. Reconfirm what just happened there. Is there a command center floating to it? What's going on there? Or mutas can go check it out too. That's totally fine. I wouldn't really care either way. Just something needs to go check out what the fuck just happened. Like, I'm pretty sure a siege tank just sieged there and killed the Zergling, but yeah. Really good scouting. Champagne is on point right now. Yeah, see, and then when the Zergling's killed, you want to go confirm that. Be like, are you expanding? And now you know what this is? Harass potential. So these mutas could totally fly there, or they could also fly in the main. Either way. Harass is harass. He's going for the main. It works. Okay. Mass Vikings. So now, what you guys need to do is realize the situation again, and you need to understand that mass Vikings will beat the shit out of mutas if the supply count is similar. And right now it's 6 mutas versus 5 Vikings. Not to mention you're also fighting against a Thor and a missile turret. You're not going to win this fight, right? So get the fuck out of there right away. You're going to take some losses because it's a slow zone, unfortunately. But now you also have confirmed, you've reconfirmed, this dude is going mech. Thor, Viking, heavy Viking, and Thor. Yeah, this is not bio. No bio here. This guy's not going Marine Tank Medevac. And then you haven't really confirmed blue for a little while. It looks like he's going mech though, right? But yeah. So mutas, I'm going to tell you right now, mutas are good at counterattacking bases, not so good at fighting army here. Like when he shot that turret there, he cost himself 2 mutas there. He might have only lost 1, but he lost 2 because he shot the turret. Now there's a little bit of Marines down there. Do I think that's an actual Bioterran player? No, I think that's just the Marines that he made early on because he panicked and he just randomly sent them across the map. I still don't think he's going bio. But that would be a time where you should go kill those with some roaches or something. Really good scouting from Champagne. Really, really good scouting. I'm super impressed with Champagne scouting this game.
Hey Vibe, sorry to hear you hate B2GM, but hope you know you've brought a lot of us from silver to diamond like me. Thanks for the cool stream, bro.
Thank you, Juggernaut. I appreciate the 8 months, dude. Thank you, thank you. Alright. So we're going in, you're going with the mutas, trying a different angle. That's what you should be doing. You should be trying angles with your mutas as much as possible. And now you kind of found one. Because this guy's got tanks. And now you see another term. You've confirmed now. Guaranteed. It's mech again, right? Tanks, Vikings, Thors. This is not bio. So now you guys are in a position where you need to think, how are we going to break this? How are we going to break this? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be really hard to break this if you just go Roach Hydra and Mutiling Bane. That's not a good anti-mech composition. It's really not. But the way you would want to break it is you want to avoid the Terran as much as possible and kill as much of the economy as possible. Like avoid the military and kill the economy. Even if it means sacrificing an army to kill all the workers in a command center. Like maybe not the mutas, but okay, so not the mutas. I don't mean the mutas there. Mutas are way more expensive. What I mean there is maybe like a roach army. Roaches are way cheaper. Not the mutas. Do not sacrifice the mutas to kill like 10 SCVs. So that was again not worth it, right? Not worth it again. Oh shit. That was like 5 mutas that just died to kill 1 missile turret. Bad trade. And that was also 2 mutas that died over here to poke a turret. Didn't even kill the turret. So not great.
First to upgrade the badge.
Yo, Neo Satori! Thank you very much, dude, for the bits badge upgrade and the biddies. Thank you, thank you. If you guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys are going to go for Mutiling Bane and Roach Hydra, there is only 1 unit you have as Zerg to make this work versus double mech. Only 1 unit can make this work. And that unit, Neo Satori, thank you very much for the biddies. Again, my god, man, thank you.
Then to give back to Vibe for the knowledge and content.
Thank you very much for the super biddies, the 1350 biddies. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that a lot. Fucking boss. The only unit you guys could make to make this work would be a Viper. That's it. It's the only unit you guys can make. To make, again, you're going for Roach Hydra, Mutaling Bane. If you're going to keep going for that composition, you need to make a fucking... One of you needs to make a Viper. I would recommend probably the Masters player do it because it's harder to use. But if you guys engage their base with no Blinding Cloud over the tanks and the Thors, you're going to fucking die. Your armies are not well suited for mech, anti-mech. Now, if neither of you, if on the other side though, you would not need Vipers if you just didn't make Roach Hydra, and instead you just made a fuckload of Swarm Host. You could just literally throw Locust at them all day, and you don't even lose the Swarm Host because they just shoot out the Locust, which are free, and you just get trades for free. You're like, oh, I just killed 3 tanks and 2 Thors. And then the cooldown's ready again. I just killed another 2 Thors and a Hellion. Cooldown's ready again. I just killed the command center. Cooldown's ready again. I killed 4 tanks this time. Like, it's fucking so good throwing Locust at Mech Terrans. Because you can also do it, like, right here to right there. You could do it from, like, right here to right there. You could do it from, like, right here to right there. Do it from, like, right here to right there. You could do it in so many fucking ways. So right here to right here. Like where the army would generally kind of be sometimes. You could do it with so many angles with Swarm Host. On these guys. And then also Champagne could go... Like, what would happen? Think about it like this as well. What would happen if, like, one of the Terrans is like, fuck, Locusts are all over my army, dude. I'm like, losing my fucking base. And the other Terran comes over to help him. And then what if the Muta player, who's going, like, mass Mutas, flies into the base behind it? And let's say now you don't have only like 8 mutas. Let's say you have like 35 mutas and you just wipe out this command center and all the SCVs at it, and you fly this way. You kill this command center and all the SCVs at it, and then you fly this way. This command center and all the SCVs at it, and then you fly this way. This commander and all the SCVs. You want to know what happens if the Thors also go into this base to chase you as you kill their command centers? And by the time your mutas kill this command center, the Thors are like right here coming to kill you because they're super slow. You fly over the cliff, and the Thors have to go like this. From like right here, they go, oh. You know, like they're fucking so they're getting like traffic jammed as well, 1 Thor at a time on a ramp. They can't all go at once. So that is one thing you could have done, right? But what I'm telling you right now, I already know what's going to happen. I feel like I already know what's going to happen. You guys are going to attack them with all your Roach Hydra and all your Mutaling Bane, and you're going to run into their armies, and you're just going to watch all the Zerg just go... Just die. Everything's just going to explode in blood pools and death. Okay, purple has 112 drones. I love the ambition of the green. Gotta definitely make sure you make some static D to cover these drones, though, if you're gonna make that many. The only way this many drones works is if you actually make static D. You need some fucking spines. And also, I would say it's a good idea to make spines too. Like 2 spines per base. Because these guys have shown you, like, this is like the 7th time they've Hellion harassed you throughout the game, right? So what are you doing now? You're going weapons still. You're still just making drones. Really need some spines, guys. Because, like, look, okay, at least, never mind. I was going to say, at least you're leaving units here, but now look at this. Once again, now you're exposing the left side again. And now all your army's on the right side. No spines. No spines. No spines. No spines. No spines, no spines, no spines, no spines. Finally spines at this newest base. These guys are giving you the runaround. And you want to know what this is doing to you? You want to know what it's actually doing to you? It's not about like, oh, well, don't lose your drones. Like, obviously, you don't want to lose your drones because losing your drones sucks. But it's not about like drones dying as much as it is about wasting your time. Because you want to know what's really happening? This is what's happening. It's similar to what I said last week. I think I talked about it in yours, about the Hydras versus the carriers. When we talked about how long it takes to make Hydras versus how long it takes to make carriers. This same thing's happening here when you compare how long it takes to make mech versus how long it takes to make Hydras. You can make Hydras so much faster than you can make a fuckload of tanks and Thors and things like that. So what these Hellions are actually doing is they're giving you guys the runaround, and it's buying the Terran minute after minute after minute after minute after minute to just make more mech. And now if we look at the supplies, they're both at 150. That's fucking scary. If you're going to go Hydras, you need to go with a supply advantage just like last time. This is why I was saying, like, this army composition is just not ideal for this game. The only way this would work is if you had Vipers. Because you're going to walk into just a bunch of fucking tanks just blowing you away. And PFs and whatever else. Yeah. No hell, see, no spines again, right? Wasting your time. Again, losing drones is annoying. It's definitely annoying losing your drones. But now what are you going to do? You're going to probably rebuild your drones, and you're probably going to sit there and go chase the Hellions. If you had spines, every time this happens to you, the Hellions would be getting poked to death by the spines. And it also puts a lot more annoyance on the Terran, because if he doesn't focus fire your drones, the Hellions will actually auto-attack the spines instead.
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted.
And now look at the supplies. Now they're both maxed out. Now you guys have a problem. Because their armies scale better than your army. Lurkers are not the go-to here. Lurkers have inferior range to siege tanks. Siege tanks are like the direct counter to lurkers. You don't want to be making lurkers here. Like, a siege tank and a lurker can both hit each other hard because they both do bonus damage to armored. But the difference is that a lurker has 10 range and a siege tank has 13. So, in the time it takes a lurker to run in and then burrow, it'll just die. And then if a lurker just never runs in and burrows, and if it just stays back and burrows, a siege tank can siege within the dead zone of a lurker's attack to where it can still shoot the lurker, but the lurker can't shoot back because the siege tank has more range. And then the siege tank can siege, and the lurker will get shot, and what happens? It either dies, or you up burrow it and run in and die, or you up burrow it and run away and lose ground. And then the siege tank sieges again forward, plants it near, out of range of the lurker, but in range to shoot the lurker. And then it pushes you back over and over and over until eventually you're getting your base killed, and you lose all ground, and then you die. So you don't want to make lurkers against tanks. Like, again, the only way this unit works, and this unit works against mech like this, is if you have a Viper. And Viper is fucking hard. I don't recommend Gold League players use Lurker Hydra Viper. That is actually a hard composition to control. That's even hard for Masters players to do it properly. Broodlords are also a shit army choice because Thors are a direct counter to Broodlord. Thor Viking is even worse because Viking can do a shitload of damage as well, but Thors can go in high impact payload and they have more range than Broodlords do. A Broodlord has 10, a Thor has 11. You can shoot a Broodlord further with a Thor than a Thor can shoot a Broodlord further than a Broodlord can shoot a Thor. Like, Zerg has less range, is what I'm trying. It sounds weird how I'm saying that, even though I feel like I said it right. It just sounds weird. Zerg has less range in all of these situations. They have inferior siege range. The name of the game is Zerg always has to engage first and get shot first, and a Thor hits fucking way harder than a Broodlord. One Thor versus one Broodlord. A Thor will kill the Broodlord and have like 75% of its health left. It's actually fucking absurd how good a Thor is versus a Broodlord. It's ridiculous. And not to mention that's not even just it, guys. If you have like 10 Thors, you're going to be just evaporating Broodlords in seconds. The Broodlords won't even get a chance to shoot, period. They'll like fly in and just die before they can even do anything. So it exponentially scales in favor of Thors, because here's also a reason why. A Broodlord is a slow shooting projectile unit. A Thor is a instant hit scan fucking immediate hitting unit that just knocks your fucking Broodlords out of the sky. Like a Broodlord has to like come to a stop and then go or like throw its Broodling out, and a Thor just goes like just fucking it just blows up the Broodlord in fucking 2 seconds. And if you have 10 Thors, your Broodlords won't even come to a stop to shoot their projectiles. They'll just die. So this is a terrible choice for a unit here in this position. A Broodlord is not going to do anything for you. And then not to mention that, also if you have Vikings, Vikings are just going to add to the DPS, right? Vikings will just add to the DPS that Thors already do. And then also the Corruptors, the only way Corruptors are going to shoot at the Vikings is, it's the same situation. A Viking has 9 range. A Corruptor has 6. So what does that mean? Zerg has to engage deeper to shoot the Terran while Terran's shooting from further away. A Terran can shoot a Corruptor from this far away, but a Corruptor has to get this close to shoot the Viking back, even though the Viking's still shooting the entire time. But the problem with that is the deeper the Corruptors dive into the Terran, the more Thors in the back line that get to shoot the Corruptors as well, and the Corruptors will also just disappear. So Thor beats this entire army. And Tank beats this entire army. And what are these guys doing? Thor Tank. You guys are literally going the exact anti-composition of what they want you to go for. Like, they want you to make this composition. You're allowing Thors and Tanks to rule your life, essentially. One way you beat Terran players who play like this is you counterattack their base. And another way you can beat Terran players who play like this is you siege, honestly. You can siege them. There's only one unit Zerg has that has superior siege to every Terran unit in the game. And you want to know what that unit is? I've said it a few times already. It's a swarm host. A swarm host, like a tank can shoot, like look at the missile turret right here. Let's pretend this missile turret right here is a siege tank. A siege tank can shoot about that far right there. Right about that far, I would say. Is about a siege tank's attack radius. Do you want to know how far a Locust can be cast from? About like right there. Off the fucking screen. You could cast Locust from like right here, and they would travel all the way, like if I zoom out now, Locust would go all the way from like right here, all the way over to Terran, and this right here is about as far as a siege tank can shoot from where that turret is. The second turret on the left. Look how much more range you had to like throw Locust out there. You have so much fucking easy range to abuse with your Locust. Like if a siege tank is 13 like that right there, a Locust is like almost fucking 30. With how far you can cast your Locust from away from the Terran. And then if every time you cast out Locust, you're deleting like 4 tanks, that's fucking free trades. That's super good. And also you're pulling the majority of the Terran's army forward, which could buy time for like your teammate, the Spire player, who in my opinion should be going mutas right now, because mutas could kill the base way easier. The muta player could get in and knock out the economy. And what does a Terran player do if they have no money? Nothing. They slowly lose their units that are dying to the Locust, right? And then you're just like, oh fuck. Like you could do that, but again, if you're gonna play the way you're playing, the only way you win this fight is if the second you take the fight, like right as the Hydras and Lurkers are running in to engage, like right here, right as they're about to start running into siege tank range, like right about here, you blinding cloud, and then all the tanks are disabled. They can't shoot for the next like 6 seconds. And then you burrow your Lurkers, and your Hydras just start pounding shit. And if you're really good at Zerg with Vipers, you reapply a second blinding cloud right before the first one expires, So then you kill all of the mech units without losing any Zerg units. So the first Blinding Cloud allows you to set up and engage, and the second Blinding Cloud allows you to kill without taking damage. That's like the only way your army would work here. If you don't do that, you're going to walk in and watch all the Zerg units just die. Now this Terran army over here is definitely going to die because that's just garbage. That doesn't do anything. Like 3 Cyclones versus 10 Broods, it doesn't do fucking anything. And here comes the Vikings, right? And are there Thors over here too? No. These guys aren't bringing the Thors over. Okay. Well, luckily for you, that I don't know why, but he probably should bring the Thors over. There we go. As soon as the Thors arrive, this base does not die. Watch this fight. If you guys take it. Okay, never mind. You don't take it. How's this going? So, again, another way you guys can make this work is if you work together. Like, use changelings. Think about this, okay? Let's just say you're not gonna, neither one of you wants to use Vipers. Let's just say one of you actually just wants to keep going Broodlords and Zerglings and Corruptors, and one of you wants to keep going Roaches and Hydras and Lurkers. Here's a way you can make this work and win the game. Who is more mobile out of the two of you? I would say Lings are the most mobile, and then Hydra Lurker is the second most mobile. You know what you could do? You know what you need to be doing? What if you had a changeling over here? Like, use some Overseer changelings, both of you. Throw some changelings over here. Throw some changelings over here. Changelings over here. Changelings over here. Changelings over here. One of you put a fucking Overlord in the back of his base and throw down a Nidus Worm right here. Do things that make the Terran go from being like do this. The Terran right now, it looks like this. If this is the Terran's base, their defense looks like this, okay? It looks literally like this. The red zone is like their entire army. And the white zone is all open fucking for business attacks that you could be doing to their base. Like, look at their base. It's so fucking nothing. Not like one tank there. Okay, so it'd be like this. It'd be like, okay, this guy's got one tank right there. There's just not much defending the fucking base. It's really wide open bases for the most part. There's like turrets and like a tank every now and again. And like new production definitely pops out every now and again too, but it's just not much defending the bases. And then look at the doorways to their bases. Blob of shit. A little bit of a smaller blob of shit, but still a decent amount of tanks and some PFs that are probably gonna get made there, and turrets and stuff, and sensor tower. And then over here, a big blob of shit again at the doorways to their base. Now imagine if you had a Nidus Worm going down like right here. Or imagine if you had another Nidus Worm going down, like what if an Overlord flew right over here, and you had a Nidus Worm going down like, I don't know, like right, like this tank would kind of cover this space pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. But what if like a Nidus Worm went down right here? Nothing. Like, find openings in your opponent's base, not necessarily to use them, not to be like, oh, we're gonna use that and that's the only way we're gonna attack. But imagine this. What if you set up a Nidus? What if Zerg was like this? Haha, I got a fucking Nidus right there. And then Terran does this. Oh, there's a Nidus in our base, dude. Okay. Let's go deal with that. And then you go like this. Okay, well now some of this army's gone. And you start making the Terrans spread around their base a little bit more. You spread them out. And then what happens? Your real army together is right fucking there. And as soon as you confirm with changelings that the Terrans are running away from their wall, Or if you see that Terran has one doorway covered really heavily right there and one doorway covered really heavily right there, if both of these green circles are very... Well, you get the point. You get the fucking point, yeah. Both of these green circles, if that's really heavy Terran coverage on their doors, what if you pick only one of them to attack with both of you? And then let's say you guys like, you know, you have a couple things that make them get fucking overreactive to defending areas like this, and you're like, okay, there's like 60 supply over there, there's like 20 supply up here, there's like 10 supply there, 10 supply there, 10 supply here, there's like 20 supply over here, there's only like 80 supply here combined for the two of them. And now let's together attack this 80 supply chunk with 200 supply of Zerg. That's the only way you would win if you guys aren't going to use any other units than what you're already using. You could still win with Broodlords, Corruptors, Hydras, and Lurkers, and that's it. If that's all, and Zerglings. If that's all you want to make between the two of you, you still could win as long as you both attack together. Like, look at this army. You could break this if you guys both engaged with Broodlord, Corruptor, Ling, Lurker, Hydra together. Look at this. You guys could break down these rocks, and you guys could both shove into this with your like whole army and break this if you guys attack together. If you guys never if you guys play the game of I defend the left, you defend the right the entire time, you're never going to win. Because neither one of your armies is suited well to win the game by yourselves at all.
Oh, yeah.
But look what's happening. Watch this. Watch. See, do you see what's happening? You're standing in a sensor tower. You are literally standing in a sensor tower right now. And you're also got scanned because of it.
Oh,
and purple's coming over here. And you guys are sitting here. Sitting here. Sitting here. And look what's happening. No units are defending this space. No units are defending this. Oh, there's one cyclone there, I guess, but randomly. There's one tank there. There's still, this guy left a couple units here. This blue definitely leaves a little bit more units than red does. There's one tank there. There's no units over here. And look at this. Look at this army. I mean, he still has it here. I'm not going to lie. The Terran still does have an army over here. So, I mean, you do have somewhat of a chance. But I'm just going to say the longer you sit there together and you don't attack and you're just like, you're informing the Terran, hey, it's like a fucking like a Roman Empire siege. It's like the army is coming from the west. And then everyone's like, they'll be here in 3 days. And it's like the army from the west sets up tents and shit. And they're all like camping out, getting ready to attack. It's like, yeah, no, they're coming from that side. We know they're coming from that side. So let's reinforce this side. Let's make sure all the archers are on the wall on this side. You lose the element of of advantage, which is like jumping on mech, because mech is so fucking immobile. So you're not actually taking advantage of what you have as Zerg. Your army is shittier than theirs. The only advantage you have is your army's more mobile than theirs. But if you just alert them and go, hey, yeah, come over here, defend the side. We'll attack you in 3 minutes. Then you give them time to relocate themselves. Like, is this guy going to relocate before you take the fight? So far, no. Still no. You guys still aren't attacking, though. You're just, like, poking a little bit. And now, obviously, he's coming now.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. I feel like that was just not good. Again, that's something you could say that's not good by the Terran. They scanned this like 10 times and they saw you were both there. And they have a fucking sensor tower here, too. They're watching you the whole time. I don't know why the red Terran never came over here, but it is what it is. But as you can see, did you see what happened to your Lurkers? Like in your Hydras? Like, look at your army. Let's just watch your perspective this time. Well, let's watch purple first, because he's going first. Look at how well the Thors aren't even here, by the way. All of the this guy is actually the one who fucks over Champagne. He's not even here. He's got so many more Thors and Vikings than Blue does. Blue's the one who fucks you over with all the tanks. But even though Red's not even here, look at the Broodlords. They're just getting dumpstered. Okay, kinda. Not so much, actually. Because, I mean, Red was super out of position. And, yeah, I guess Blue's Thors died super easy. But I would say that was still a massively Expensive fight for you. So, that fight, I'm not going to lie, that fight went about as good as it could have for Purple, your teammate for Champagne. He lost his whole army, but he killed the majority of the blue army before he lost his army. So he still did a 1-to-1 trade. Here's the problem I would say you guys had. Now let's go to your perspective, Zogger. Watch the lurkers and the hydras. Let's watch these now. Let's actually pay attention to these guys this time. Lurkers burrow. They're attacking one time right now. They attacked one time. You're down to 2 lurkers left, and you got 1 auto attack off of like 12 lurkers or like 10 lurkers. And then you have one. You got a second auto attack off, and your second lurker that you can see because you can see the divots in the ground right there. You can see the divots in the ground. A second lurker just attacked, and it's dead. And now you're gonna get your third auto attack off in a second here, and you have 1 lurker left. That's not good. And how's your hydras doing? They're very rapidly disappearing, right?
Oh, yeah.
I am here for MS Paint skills.
Thank you, guys. Much love. Gruyu, thank you for the 5. And El Chapo, thank you for the gifted sub. Neo Satori, thank you very much for the 3 gifted subs. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But the point I'm trying to make here is, Zogger, did you really need to engage this fight? Think about this for a second. What do your lurkers accomplish here? And what do your hydras accomplish here? They run in, die, and then you run away with whatever didn't die. You did genuinely nothing. Now, what if you would have waited? This is why I think you guys need changelings. Because you probably had no fucking idea that it was just tanks here for the most part. You were like, oh, I gotta help my teammate because if we're gonna attack, we need to go together. And if I don't attack, he's gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why didn't you attack? We're supposed to go together, right? If you let me 2v1 them and I die, well then you're gonna 2v1 them and you're gonna die. Yes, logically that makes sense. But you guys don't scout anything like but pre-fight engagement scouting with changelings and stuff or overseers or anything. Now, props to Champagne. Really well done on the map scouting earlier on in the game. But you guys need to definitely get better at your unit awareness in this point of the game. Because if you guys would have realized this fucking fight here was all the tanks and this fight up here was all the Thors and the Vikings, there's no reason why you should have engaged. If you would have waited until the tanks were killed and then you went forward, you guys would have won the game right now. Because they actually spread themselves out. But you threw away your entire army that actually is good against Thors to die while the tanks also were going to die anyways to the Broodlords. And then the Thors and the Vikings arrived when your army's dead, and now they shoved away the Broodlords. Like, imagine if you were engaging... what if your army right now had 8 lurkers or like 10 lurkers sieged right there? And you had 30 or 40 hydras behind it. You would fucking destroy this. This mech army of Hellion, Cyclone, Thor, Viking would do nothing to lurker hydra. Because there's no tanks. There's 0 tanks in the area. There's 1 tank over there. But he's not even in range at all. This tank can shoot about that far. Like, he can't even shoot anywhere near this area. You could have broken with Lurker Hydra this base and this base. And then you guys, while you're breaking those bases, the Champagne could have remade more Broodlords and more Corruptors and more Zerglings. You could have remade more Lurkers and more Hydras for whatever died. But I guarantee you guys would have won this fight. But you have nothing supporting him now because you dove into tanks that were dying anyways. Because the reason, again, it's not your fault. It's because neither of you scout and you guys don't think about this. If either of you scouted ahead and had the logic in mind to go, oh, well, let's take advantage of, like, you know, what units are good against what. I'm not going to run into mass tanks with Lurker Hydra because it's bad for Lurker Hydra, right? And as you saw, it really is really bad. Just like your ally should not... what if it was reversed? What if you guys both engage simultaneously? And instead of engaging this side, what if you engage this side and all of the Broodlord Corruptor died immediately to all the Thor Viking, and then you had all of the Lurker Hydra, I would once again ask the question, why the fuck does the Lurker Hydra, why does the Broodlord Corruptor engage while the Lurker Hydra could have dealt with it better? But to be fair, this side was better though overall because Rice actually has fucking 7 tanks on this side. Like they both had a lot of tanks. So yeah, it's just Blue had actually a fucking lot of tanks. Rice actually overall just has a lot more than what Blue does. Like, I think Blue is probably the weaker player, even though his build is fucking weird in the beginning of the game. I don't like that reactor he made. But you get the point, right? Like, it's synergize, like using your units to their best advantages. And the only way that makes sense is if you scout, if you look at what you're up against. Like, imagine that someone tells you, let me give you an analogy, okay? Let me give you an analogy. Imagine how much easier, like, okay, let me start like this. Imagine you're in a like a facility, and the way the facility works is there's 2 rooms. There's one room that monitors the other room, and that's it. And right now you're standing in the room that monitors the other room. And in the room that's being monitored, there's something in there smashing the door in. Like, it's just banging on the door. And then they tell you in the facility, they're like, I need you to go in there and go fight that thing. And then you have 2 options.
Yeah.
Option number 1 is you just go in blind. You're like, fucking YOLO. Open the door, I'm going in. I have no idea what I'm in for, but I'm going in there. Or option number 2, you look at like a camera that monitors the room and you look at what you're in for and you actually pick up a tool to like deal with the situation better. Like, what if it's like a overgrown spider or some shit and you can pick up like this fucking like toxin like spray and throw it at it, and it's like that suddenly what would have been really scary and hard to deal with is now easy as fuck. You just like open the door, throw in like a canister, and you close the door, and you're like, oh, problem solved. Like, you have no idea what you're in for in these games. Like, you're just going in fucking blind and you're just hoping for the best. And logically, in a normal situation, you would always look before you fucking do something. Like, here's another one. What if someone tells you to jump a gap? Like, there's a gap in front of you, and someone says, "Can you jump that?" What are you gonna do? Just fucking blindly just jump forward and hope for the best? Or are you gonna look at it first and go, "Can I make that? What do I need a running start? Can I just walk over that?" Like, you always assess the situation before you do it, right? That's what people normally do. But in StarCraft, people get impatient as fuck, and they just don't do it. They're just like, "Fuck it, you go." Like, you gotta think about it like that. Like, that's why changelings are so good, because you can actually look at the situation and go, yeah, that makes sense. Or it'd be like, oh, there's like a 20-foot gap in front of me, let's try and jump it, and you make it 4 feet into it and you're like, ah, fuck, apparently it wasn't a good idea. I wasn't Neo in the Matrix. To be fair, he fell his first time as well. But yeah, you get the point, right? You guys need to fucking scout more. You need to look at shit before you take a fight. There's no reason why you guys had to. Here's the final reason why I would explain that like this. Why would you feel pressured like you had to take the fight like this if you guys have the majority of the map already? You guys have both corners of the map right now. Like, yeah, there's a random token command center there, but you guys already own this base, and you own these bases as well. You even own this base, and then it recently died. You guys own the majority of the map. So why would you feel like you have to go? Like, you have to set something up, set it up a little bit better, and then go. The only time it ever makes sense to go is if you're attacking them before they max out. Because again, Zerg maxes faster than Terran does. So if that's the case, sure, go now. Go when you have 200 and they only have 145. Or like 136 or some shit like that. That's fine. You can then go quickly. Still try to assess it really fast, but just still go with priority. Like with some pep in your step. But if you're all fucking maxed out and you're all playing the waiting game, there's no reason why you guys should feel the need to be like, just do it. Just get it over with. There's so much to the game that you guys just aren't abusing as Zerg, I would say. It's what we just talked about. So hopefully that makes sense. And after losing a big fight like that, you guys lose so much control. Because now what just happened is you guys just lost control of the left side of the map entirely now as a result of that. And now Terran actually, now the game is literally split 50-50. You guys all have half the map now. And this is the worst place to take a fight. You guys are engaging a spread out Terran concave in a choke point with a red zone on it. This is like the worst look. And you also morphed lurkers as well on this choke point. This is like you were morphing lurkers while you're like some of your lurkers died before they even did anything. This is the worst place to take a fight. And again, look what happens when if you burrow, all they have to do is scan you and back up to their siege tanks, and you can't kill much. But if they're stupid and they run into lurkers, then yeah, it'll work well. Yeah, they back up and they siege their tanks, right? And now there's nothing you can do again. Well, that guy fucked his tank up. Pushed too close. Didn't dead zone it. But look, you're like not able to hit the tanks, right? And they're just smashing you pretty hard. Outranging you. That's why lurkers are not ideal against tanks unless you have Vipers. And now, check this out. Here's another thing. Remember what I said a minute ago. Don't forget this. Remember this paint? Go back to when it was like this. You know what it looks like now? This is what Terran looks like now. That's what they look like now. There's probably a couple remnants left over. But now, imagine if the Zerg player went, you know what? How about instead of fighting right here, we go like this. We go right here and do this. Just fucking slam him from the right side when he's out of position. Mobility, because look at their army. Now look up here. Big army, right? They're reinforcing this like fucking crazy. Now let's look at this side. He's still got 2 tanks and an orbital. Not much. He's got a couple tanks over here. There's a couple tanks on this side. That's it. They got a couple tanks on this side. They got 3 tanks on the bottom side, and they got 4 tanks on the top side and 1 tank in the back. What if the Broodlord guy went up here right now? And then once the tanks got, like, again, what if you had changelings that saw this, and the Broodlord guy goes, oh, it's just tanks over there. Broodlords kill all the tanks, and then Lurker Hydra runs in right after, and then zones out the Thors, and the Thors and all the shit of the other army, all these massive Thor units. What if the Lurkers zone them out, while the Broodlords and the Zerglings just kill the fucking bases of Terran? Like, there's so many ways you can play this out that are not just always trying to fight the blob. And if you guys just never stop fighting the blob, you're just going to get pushed by the blob. Because again, tanks and Thors have superior range to Zerg here, because you're not using Swarmost. Ultras are not going to work. You're going to watch Ultras run in and just go... like, if you know, I don't know. I wish there was a video I could pull up for it. This is not like the Legacy of the Void, or sorry, this is not the Heart of the Swarm cinematic, okay? These are not these Ultras right now. These Ultras are basically, they're going to walk forward and be like fly swatted and then just dead. Here we go. Let's watch them do their work. And they're all dead on the top already, and they're all dead on the bottom already. Those Ultras didn't do anything. And now these tanks and these Thors are just fucking pounding you. you guys get, honestly, I'm telling you right now, if you guys get in a situation again, seriously, try Swarm Host. It's so fucking, like, if you have like 40 Swarm Host or like 30 Swarm Host, like one player is all Swarm Host. It's actually hilarious how strong it is against this. Ultras are not great. They're so expensive, and they have such a high chance to not work. Now you might break this army because this is just one Terran by himself. You actually might kill this guy. You guys are grouping up here together. This looks like so now, even though I don't think Ultras are good and Hydras are good against mech at this point in the game, you're gonna win this fight if you take it. And why is that? Because you're fighting a small mech army. This is one guy. Blue is nowhere to be found. If all these Thors and Hellbats were here helping this army, you would not win that fight. But he's not. This guy's fucking whatever. God knows whatever here. He's like, I don't want to get counterattacked. I'm afraid. You see how much more of an advantage is when Zerg abuses mobility? You make Terrans do shit like this without even making them do this. Like he's doing it just because. But if you threaten counters a lot, like the potential of it, like an Overlord and a Nidus or something. Like imagine if it was also spread out in their like what if their whole base was compromised because they're like Nidus. So much more potential. But you guys will kill this red Terran, I think, if you just go together. To be fair, you guys took a lot of fucking damage before you actually went. You still won though. Like look how much damage you guys fucking eat before you take the fight. You guys are playing so timid. Again, you guys are like the first time you guys were like, it was like, okay, jump the gap. The first time over here, that gap was pretty big. It was like 2 buildings that are different. You got to get a super fast running start and like jump as far as you can and you might make it. This one right here, it'd be like someone saying jump the gap and it's like you could do a little hop. You're like, dunk, I made it. Like if you guys would have just pulled the trigger and went here, you would have fucking destroyed this Terran army. But watch how long you guys sit here and just get fucking eat free damage. Watch this. So the Terran, like, you could run him over so bad if you guys just went right now together. This would be such an easy fucking win for you. There's so much Zerg here compared to the Terran. Now look, you're getting just pummeled by the tanks, right? Lurkers are dying right now. You're eating all this damage. Another Lurker dies. Another 2 Hydras Lurker dies again. That's like 3 Lurkers that have died and like 5 Hydras that have died. And you're getting super softened up in the front of your army. Another Lurker died and another Lurker is getting fucking owned and then all the units around are getting owned again. Another Lurker's dead. And another, you know, like all you, again, it's all you're just getting fucking owned. Your Ultra engages. He's bleeding units. And now purple backs up when you engage. And then you disengage. And you just eat a fuckload of tank shots. And then you re-engage. And purple's still sitting there. And now purple finally engages. You guys are eating so much fucking damage before you take a fight. And then also your Hydras are blocking his Ultras. Like this was the sloppiest fight you guys could have ever had. And you want to know why it was sloppy? I'll tell you right now why it was sloppy, 100%. The reason why this fight was sloppy is because you guys never once knew what the fuck was there. You're doing this with an assumption that it's scary. Your unit died, so I lost my vision of you. You guys, all you know is we're getting shot by the fog of war and there's some Liberators and some tanks over there. This is scary. If you guys knew this dude was fucking sitting there with his thumb up his ass, and this guy had actually a really tiny army and not even sieged right now, you would have just fucking went for it and killed him so hard. Well, you have no idea because you guys don't scout in the mid game. You guys have no changeling usage at all. So you're just eating all this damage. You guys are so timid to take the fight. You're like, ah. And the only reason why you guys took the fight is not because it was a good idea. It's because it was a last resort. You're like, we're going to fucking die if we don't do something. Let's go. All right, fuck it. Hopefully we don't die. You guys need to scout more. A lot more. And now here comes blue, right? And now blue's pushing you with his own army again. Imagine if you guys didn't fuck around for so long up there and you ran over the army. You would then run over this guy. What they actually just did, where they fought you 2v1 and then 2v1, is actually fucking terrible. You could have easily won that if you didn't just waste so much time and so much units before you take fights. So hopefully that makes sense. But Zogger, thank you very much for doing another replay analysis. You guys need to use changelings more.
2 years, holy butt.
Thank you, Burry, for the 2-year sub. Oh my god, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you very much, Burry. My fucking man. Zogger and Champagne, thanks for doing another replay analysis, guys. I hope this helps you. I hope this enlightens you a little bit more. Much love. Good luck.
Thanks for the RA again.
No worries, thank you. Zogger for the 100 biddies again, and also Neosatori, thank you for the 600 biddies. Thank you, dude. And guys, that's going to do it today for the video. So I'll see you guys in the next one, whatever it is. Hopefully, if you're a team player out there, this maybe enlightened you a little bit on like ways to play the game a bit more. Ways to abuse your opponents, stuff like that. But much love. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, whatever it might be. So until then, take it easy. Much love, and see you then. Peace, guys.